bum ba-dum, bum bum bum, bum bum bum, ba-da-da-dum, bum bum ba-dum, ba-ba-dum. Rum bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum dun 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 ba-dum ba-da-dum ba-dun dun 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 bum ba-dum bum bum ba-da-dum dun 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 ba dun 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 bum ba dum bum bum bum. Hello, my friends. Good evening. Hi, Bob and Deb. From my friends in Kentucky. Hello from Virginia, says Nancy. Hello, my friends. It's so great to see you all. South Dakota and Georgia and Minnesota. Oh, it's so good to see everyone. Hello, my friends. Joette Calabrese here. I'm here to do one thing and one thing only, and I do it every Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And that is, I teach you homeopathy, and we talk. We discuss, we meet with each other, you give suggestions to each other, you help each other, you learn from me, you learn from others, and it's a great way to spend a Monday night. And for those of you who already know me, welcome, my friends. It's great to see you all. I see we've got a full house tonight, and I ask you, if you're on YouTube, and those kinds of forums, please subscribe and comment and share, because it really does make a difference. I don't monetize this. Just so you know, I don't make anything on this. The reason I ask you to share is different. The reason I ask you to subscribe is different than influencers. They're doing it so they can bring up their numbers and they can monetize their site more fully. I don't do that. I don't monetize this. My monetary payment is to have more people learn about homeopathy. That is what gives me joy. I think it gives you joy. And the more people who are doing this, the more you turn on to this, the easier it is for all of us. Because this, my friends, is a movement. Yes, this is a movement. This is a movement for self-reliance. To learn how to be able to take care of yourself and your family without depending on, oh, you know. Yes. Yes. Hi, everyone. Noreen. Thank you, Noreen. I know, Noreen, you do some beautiful knitting. This is not knit, but it does make me think of you, because you do such beautiful stuff in shawls and all, blankets. And hi, Gina. In South Jersey, and folks from many different places. Hello, Rona from Ajax, Ontario. Such a great name, as I say every single time. Hello from British Columbia, says Shay, and hello from Eva in Chicagoland, and then Albany, New York, and hello from Toronto. And I know you've just all gotten snow recently. Yesterday, I think it was, you got a good amount of snow. Buffalo got snow. I think I know Wisconsin got snow. Kate, my assistant, my sidekick in the academy, lives in Wisconsin, and she told me that they were getting a good amount of snow. She had to shovel this morning. And so here we go. Let's see who else we've got here. Oh, we got a good number tonight. That's really great. Love to see you all, my friends. We're going to talk about something that has been requested. What do we do, asked a couple of people, when someone has quit smoking or vaping, something that is affected, something extrinsic that has affected their lungs? It doesn't even have to be smoking, my friends. It doesn't have to be recreational. It could simply be someone lives in an area where there's a lot of smog. Los Angeles, for example, or certain parts of India can be like that, and other parts of the world as well. So let's say they move to the shore. They move to a place where they no longer are exposed to that. What can we do to clean house, so to speak? Right? That's really what everyone's, I think it was 3 people have asked me this over a period of time. So normally most people think in terms of what can I what can I take as a supplement or give as a supplement after having quit smoking to just kind of clean things out? Well, generally speaking, homeopathy is medicine, not supplementation. Although homeopathy has such a sweeping ability that I think it could be useful to do a little, maybe a little cleaning if we can find other issues that can help us justify the use of one of our homeopathic medicines. So, I was a smoker at one time. Indeed, I smoked in my late teens and probably halfway into my 20s, so probably about 8 years or so. Excuse me while I just take a sip of water. And I did it cold turkey, but I hadn't had a lifetime of smoking. And I found for myself that one of the biggest things that was difficult for me were cravings. And so I want to talk about cravings. We're going to talk about respiratory and coughs a little bit. I want to try to get a bunch of remedies in here to give you some ideas. But I found cravings, and I think a lot of people find that they crave. They want to eat. They want something sometimes sweet, but they want something in their mouth. They want to chew. They want texture. They want to feel as though they're getting something in. And there's a psychological aspect to that. There's no doubt. And in that case, I would use Ignatia, Ignatia, Ignatia. Ignatia 200C. Ignatia Amara, I love that medicine. It's an excellent medicine used twice daily, not forever. No. We use these medicines until they are completed. When the person feels a little bit better, then we stop. Sometimes it only takes a couple doses. And then if they feel it coming on again, they start it again. So then we're going to use Ignatia 200C twice daily for a few days. Then back off. See how it goes. Okay, the person's feeling better. The cravings are not so great. The feeling like there's something's missing in their lives. They don't feel as overwhelmed. That's a need for Ignatia. And when we see that is what's helping, then we stop. It looks like it's working. So it's different than taking supplements, where with supplements, you just keep taking them. Vitamin C, why not? Just take it forever. No, homeopathy is not like that. Instead, the way we look at it is we want to see some movement forward, some good action, and then that justifies our use, generally speaking, justifies our use for holding back. Now, this is not for every single condition, but at least for this condition. Okay. But those cravings, they go beyond the psychological, and they can be something where somebody wants to eat. And so I find that one of the best medicines I have for that is chelidonium. 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 It's a beautiful medicine. We usually use it in a 6 potency, 6C or 6X. This is not a protocol, so it needn't be absolutely 6X or 6C. Either one, whichever is most available to you. Use chelidonium 6, X or C, 2D, twice daily, or BID as it's often said. I like that medicine specifically for cravings, food cravings, wanting to eat, and also it's a great liver cleansing medicine. So I wrote an article years ago. It was in 2016. And it was titled, "Hey, Cravings, Meet Homeopathic Chelidonium and Friends." And if you just take a look at that, it was published in my in the journal from Weston A. Price. And I'm blanking on the name of the journal now. I can't believe it that I don't remember, because I wrote that column for 11 years in that journal. It might come to me in a moment. I know someone else is going to come up with it. But the title again is, "Hey, Cravings, Meet Chelidonium and Friends." And it will give you a better understanding of how and when it's used, that chelidonium. So, all right, let's keep going. Let's go to something that's more respiratory, shall we? And related to that feeling of still trying to quit. The person has quit, but Wise Traditions. Thank you very much, Mary Howerton. Wise Traditions was where I wrote those articles. I had a column in there called the Homeopathy Corner for 11 years. And so you could also, even though you might want to look at many of the articles that I've written to teach you how to use homeopathy in the most simple way on my blog and my and Facebook, etc. My friends, also take a look at Wise Traditions and just key in Joette Calabrese, and you'll find all the articles that I wrote. It was a quarterly journal. Okay. Is the remedy for craving for more food when you've already eaten, usually more than enough, different than the remedy for craving for an addictive thing? In a way, either one of them could be considered. Let's start with that, Alice, okay? So, an addictive thing can often be different. It depends on what you mean by addictive. So, can sweets be addictive? Yeah, I think they can. But if what you're talking about is more like a substance, such as alcohol or weed or something like that, now it's slightly different. So I'm going to talk first about, why don't I skip down, because I do have the medicine that I talk about all the time for this, and you're all going to know it. For anyone who knows even the smallest amount of homeopathy, you're going to know Nux vomica is my next medicine, because Nux vomica can help with not just the craving of smoke, cigarettes, tobacco, vaping, etc., but it also has to do with what happens when somebody has a smoker's cough, for example. A cough that lingers after the person has quit, or while they're still quitting, or even if they're never going to quit. Nux vomica is a great medicine. I like it in particular in a 200C, or, believe it or not, in a 6. I know that sounds strange. Why did we skip over the 30? Because I've had good results with those two potencies. They're not protocols. I'm just giving you suggestions based on my experience. I like it when there's a feeling of suffocation, especially at night. So it could be a cough in which the person feels like they're suffocating at night. There's dyspnea, inability to get enough air. Sometimes there's bloody expectoration on coughing. It's not just going to happen necessarily, but on coughing. Nux vomica, 6 or a 200. I know that's strange. So Nux vomica, 6 twice daily, 200 maybe once every other day. That's the way I would use this. And that can be for, if you read up on Nux vomica, and I urge you, my friends, that when I teach you these kinds of things, these kinds of medicines, don't just take my word for it, write it down and just take it. Do me a favor and do your due diligence, so to speak. Get to your Materia Medica. Use my Materia Medica if you've got it, or use one online, or Robin Murphy's Materia Medica, or those Materia Medicas that are free, available to anyone online. I talk about them all the time. Dr. James Tyler Kent's Materia Medica is free online. Yes, Dr. James Tyler Kent. Boricke, Boericke. Materia Medica is free online. These are people who are the old masters who have long ago passed away. Boricke and Phatak, Phatak, also a very good Materia Medica online. And then, of course, Robin Murphy, as I said a moment ago, whose Materia Medica is voluminous and very rich and in depth. I hold that one in particularly high regard. After owning, and I own many Materia Medicas, I always try to remember how many I've got. I want to say it was anywhere between 36 and 40 Materia Medicas. Yes, my friends, many different authors of Materia Medicas, and I own a lot of them, as I just said. So different authors see it a little differently, and when you read it this way, it might not make as much sense as when you read it from this author. It adds perspective when you can read from different authors the same medicine from different authors. So Nux vomica, great for cough, great for smokers' cough, great to help someone break habits, especially addictive habits, and also substances. So when we're talking about substances, which was just brought up a minute ago about addictive, or I brought it up, where Alice just asked about, is it if there's something addictive. Nux vomica can be a very powerful medicine. It's not our only one, my friends. There are many others, but it is one of our best medicines and most readily available and most well understood. Okay, now let's talk about another kind of smoker's cough. Let's talk about a smoker's cough that would be aided by, even if the person is no longer smoking, they've finished smoking. And the most common thing for it to occur after someone has quit smoking is that they cough. And that's why I decided to go this route. There's difficulty raising the mucus. It's in the lungs. They're trying to expectorate, but it is difficult. And I have to tell you, Cadium, 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 I use it in a 6, I've used it in a 30, and I use it twice daily. And that is a great medicine to help the person stay off of the tobacco or the smoke habit, as well as to help with the smoker's cough that results from having been a smoker for a period of time. And as I said, it can help with the craving of tobacco. It helps minimize that craving, especially if it's taken twice daily. Some people consider Cadium to be an antidote to tobacco cravings. Fascinating. So if you see any products out there, homeopathic products, and I've talked about this before on Monday Night Live, but not in this vein. I haven't talked about coughs, etc. But I have spoken about Cadium, and if you go back and look it up, you'll find more information on Cadium. Those products that are to quit smoking, that are homeopathically derived, will almost always have the remedy Cadium in it, mixed in it. All right, I got a couple more here. I'm going to take a little sip and read some of what you've been mentioning to me. All righty, let's just see what we've got. All right. Nux vomica 30 has worked the best for me for overeating something and getting bloated. You bet, Alice. Yes, for overeating. So it's that feeling like, it's not that you've just overeaten, but you're paying for it. That's definitely Nux vomica. My 2 grandchildren are in the healthy baby section of Wise Traditions. Oh, Lisa, you should be so proud. How fabulous. That's nice job, Grandma, to have worked with your children to ensure that your grandchildren are on the same plane. Okay. Somebody's asking for more names of those materia medicas again, and I think somebody will come in and talk about it. Please, I think we had a couple people hop in and give the names of the materia medicas. COPD, it's Cadium, and could it also target COPD? It could. It's not the only one. We look at other medicines for COPD. It's not, there are many others to choose from. I'm being very specific about a cough that's related to smoker's cough, okay? Weston Price has helped my family in so many ways, says Lisa. Let's see what other folks are saying here. Alrighty, and the same remedies if the person has quit smoking but can't get off the nicotine gum. I think that would be, I would not say for sure, but I believe that would be Cadium. Because the Cadium has and there are others, and you can look that up in the repertory, in Robin Murphy's repertory, in the section under toxins. That might be one way to look at it. But yes, I would say Cadium is probably a good choice because it has been known to have the ability to antidote. Am I going to tell you that this is an absolute, that if you do this, this is what will happen? No, I'm not going to tell you that, my friends. This is not magic. Nothing is 100%. What we do is we do the best we can. In many situations, these medicines will do good work, but in some, they will not. They will not. Yes, you're so proud. Yes, I'm sure you are, Lisa. It's so good. How about caffeine withdrawal? I've talked about that on my blog. If vaping and chew the same as cigarettes, bottom line is nicotine. Yes, I would say that they're probably the same. Yes, that's the way I'm looking at it. Chewing tobacco, vaping, yes, absolutely. Now, it depends on what the person's vaping, but if it's got nicotine in it or tobacco, then by all means. We are also teaching them, says Lisa, homeopathy and how to use it. God's Good Table is another great hopeful group. Wonderful. They started with Weston A. Price. That sounds like a great sounding group. I use my William Boricke Materia Medica. Have your dictionary next to you. The language is old but wonderful. Yes, have your dictionary. It's Yasgur's, Yasgur', Yasgur's Homeopathic Dictionary is a very good tool, but if you don't have that as a tool, so when you're looking up those more outdated terms, which I think should still be kept in practice because I'm unapologetically old-fashioned in many ways. But you can also look it up online. If you happen to be in front of your computer, if you've got your phone in front of you, you can look up online what the old medical terms mean. It's all a very good way of building your own vocabulary. Okay, now let's talk about a different kind of a cough. This is a smoker's cough, whether the person is still smoking, still vaping, etc. Still, I don't know if it's the chewing so much. I guess it would be more like inhalation into the lungs. Then we're going to talk about a sense of constriction in the chest, in the lungs, as if there's a suffocation. So there is a constriction, a heaviness, and this medicine is Lobelia. Lobelia. Second word is inflata. Yeah, inflating. Difficult to inflate. Difficult to build, to open up the lungs. It's a good way to help you remember. Lobelia. Lobelia. Again, I would use it in a 6 or a 30. Difficulty getting enough air and labored breathing. Heaviness or feeling of weight. I'm looking at my notes to make sure I don't miss anything. Feeling of weight on the chest, on the lungs. Can this be used in a time when someone has never had cigarette smoke or has never vaped? Certainly. This is the description of this medicine. So if we use it whether we use it for someone who is smoking or has quit smoking, someone who is vaping, or has already quit vaping, or someone who has never touched any of those, then we're still going to consider lobelia if there is weight on the chest and a sense of suffocation. But there also may be an associated gastrointestinal part of this picture, and that is nausea, which is quite extreme, and vomiting. So there's a really great opportunity to use lobelia when someone has had too much of this smoke, or it's a person who's never smoked before and they've just tried it and they're turning green and nausea and vomiting. That is lobelia. And again, I would use it twice a day. Now, if it's just an acute situation, such as a young person's just trying to smoke, started to smoke for the first time and have nausea and vomiting, you could use it a few times that day. But having said that, my friends, if you know a youngster or anyone who's decided they're going to start smoking, I would not give them a homeopathic medicine to help relieve them. I wouldn't. I have relatives who used to get canker sores every time they ate a lot of sugar. I'm not giving you a remedy for that. Just don't eat all that sugar. It's a great way for Mother Nature to teach people what they should and shouldn't do, and it keeps them in line. If you take this and you get sick, maybe you shouldn't again, right? If you eat too much of the wrong food, then maybe you'll learn not to eat that food again. So there should be some natural consequence to our actions, right? I think so. All right, how much time do we have? Good. We've got enough time. Let's get to this next medicine. There are 2 medicines left, and these are specific, again, for smokers' coughs. Now, when I say smokers' coughs, again, I'm going to tell you, this medicine I'm going to teach you about now and the next one are great for smokers' coughs, but they are known for such a broad range of coughs. Coughs with colds, all of these are, but especially these last 2 are so specific for coughs in general. A cough from pneumonia, a cough from that lingers after a cold, a cough from being in smog, a cough from inhalation of smoke, whether it's self-inflicted or not. And the first one is, or the next one I should say, is Drosera. Drosera, Drosera. This is a very specific kind of a cough. The other ones were a kind of cough as well, but this one doesn't have the chest oppression. Instead, they have a dry, irritating, even deep cough that sounds like a bark of a seal. Horf, horf, that kind of a sound. Really like a seal barking or a dog barking. Drosera. It's an excellent medicine for that. And there are often frequent attacks. So some people, after they've quit smoking, or while they're still smoking, get an attack every few days. But this one, for Drosera, in order to choose this medicine, we often see that there's more frequency to the attacks. There can be retching and vomiting along with it. So they're coughing. The attacks can be so intense that it's accompanied by retching and coughing. And the throat may feel rough because of all the coughing. Well, the coughing's frequent, so that makes perfect sense. Sometimes there's tightness in the throat. Interesting. Not the lungs as much, although it can. Sometimes in the throat. Drosera is one of our best medicines for a smoker's cough, whether the person decides to quit smoking or does not. In either case, Drosera I usually use in a 30 or a 200. And again, I use it twice daily. But if you don't see a shift, my friends, if you use a homeopathic medicine and you don't see a shift, something within a few days, it doesn't have to be, oh my gosh. In fact, it most likely will not be, oh my gosh, it's gone. No, my friends, we're looking for, instead of looking at the suffering from here, we're going to look at it after having taken the medicine from here. So there's a shift enough that if you're paying attention, or the person who's taking the medicine is paying attention, then we know it's the correct medicine and we carry on. All righty. One more sip of my water. When my kids came home from college, I never offered them Nux Vomica when they woke up not feeling well from a party night. I didn't even feel guilty. Jan, you bet. Natural consequences. Yes. Let's see. A cough from environmental allergies. Having a good gut helps a lot. Yes, it does. Environmental allergies have so much has to do with the gut. Wouldn't you say? The psychology, the way we think, the energy we've got, our joints, our skin, so much starts with the gut. And then wouldn't it behoove us, because so much starts with the gut, to make sure that what we put into our mouths is so good? Yes, absolutely. It's so important that we eat properly, that we eat directly from farmers, from local farmers if we can, if at all possible. Okay, let's see what time we've got. Good, we're doing it. We're doing just fine because I've got one last medicine. And my friends, if you are one of Joette's Mighty members, if you're a member of Joette's Mighty members, you're going to appreciate this one depth further, one little degree further. And that is Brionia, Bryonia. And the reason my Mighty members would appreciate this a little bit more in depth is because I read from Dr. James Compton Burnett's 50 Reasons for Being a Homeopath. And when I do, he made a point in the very beginning of that book, a beautiful story about how he used Brionia to to save many of his patients, numerous patients, and how he missed it with a young man. He only wished that he could have helped this young man who ended up passing away because he believed that Brionia was the medicine that could have been useful. So, Brionia is one of our best medicines for colds and coughs. And as you remember, if you're following me, you've watched me here, and you've also seen me on my blog, read on my blog, that aconitum 200 and Brionia 30 mixed together is a Banerjee protocol. Anytime there's a protocol that's from the Banerjees, we should always give them credit. It's a Banerjee protocol, and it's used for colds and coughs, especially at the onset of them. And so even though this cough that we're talking about is a smoker's cough and it's not a cold or a respiratory infection per se, we can still use it because it's a great medicine for the lungs. I have a 2-year-old son who has speech delay, trouble sleeping, sensory issues. Any recommendations? Yes, my recommendation is that you go to Joette's Learning Center. Joette's Learning Center. Scroll down to Mindful Homeopathy. Mindful Homeopathy. It's all about children who are missing moments in their time, so that they're not able to read, or they're not catching up. They're missing their milestones, psychological, intellectual shifts. It's all about the mind and how we use homeopathy and what we use specifically for each of those conditions. Mindful Homeopathy by going to Joette's Learning Center. My friends, it is imperative that you learn how to do this, and I know that's why you're here, my friends. It's imperative that we learn how to do this ourselves. Times are a-changing, and it's important that we are capable of handling most, if not perhaps all, situations that come our way. We will automatically know when it's time that we have to go for medical help. I think that if you know a little homeopathy, the more you learn, the more you realize, I can do this or I can't do this. And so you go to get medical help from your practitioner if need be, but you will find that as you learn this, you will be less and less likely to do that, because there are most of these conditions are readily addressed with knowledge of this homeopathy, and with owning the medicines. You must own them. So I urge you to do just that. God bless you all, my friends, on this Holy Week. Enjoy your weekend. Happy Easter for those who observe. And I will see you next Monday with, I hope, just as compelling a subject. Talk to you then. Bye now. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn all your remedies. My family needs me, so I must know our remedies. How much to take, how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn all your remedies. Athusa, no dairy, it's elementary. With arnica head, arsenic, fed, spigelia, slither, orms from wither, no more infirm. My family needs me, so I improve my memory. Not only the rems, but how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With your homeopathic protocols, learn all your remedies. Bella so red and arnica head, Drosera bark, Ignatia dark, source of frigid and cuprum to rigid, and crude itches, calicum, barnicum, let it melt on you, gumbo, beast to wheat are some great ways to treat ya. La 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 la, homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies.
With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. My family needs me, so I must know our remedies. How much to take, how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. Athuzanodary, it's elementary with arnica head, arsenicum fed, spigelia slither, orms from wither, no more infirm. My family needs me, so I improve my memory. Not only the rems, but how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With your homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. Bella so red and arnica head, Drosera bark, ignatia dark, source of frigid and cuprum to rigid, and crude itches, calicum, barnicum, let it melt on your gumbo, beast to wheat are some great ways to treat ya. La 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 la, homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies.